let's start talking about health sciences in Germany, which, according to registration, seem to be a very interesting topic to you. And we have 3 guests. I, of course, will introduce them separately. We have guests from Hochschule Fulda, from Göttingen University and University Jena. But before who is behind today's session, this is my German University, Germany's largest database of English taught study programs. In case you check the study finder, you will see there are available more than 3,700 programs. And this is just a demo version of a study finder. When you open a kind of full screen, you will see much more options to search for relevant programs according to multiple criteria. And the good thing is that you can always combine them and then search for a program according to that. This will save your time, and of course you don't have to browse through all 3,700 ones. We are also happy to share with you multiple articles. There are country-specific articles, there are some topic-specific articles. Usually scholarship is a really big topic, and there are broader articles about scholarships and then country-specific DAD scholarships available. So if you also want to have a look, feel free to check that out. Another big topic is visa, and here you also have a huge breakdown of multiple visa-related articles. And to stay connected and make this also your application to German universities more interactive, we host 2 groups of webinars. First, we have general webinars when my colleague Marie usually talks about broader topics like uni assist, scholarship, visa, generally studying in Germany, and she is also there for you to answer general questions, broader ones. And then we have subject-related webinars, one of them which you are attending right now. And I'm always happy to share this slide with the team who make my due possible. Now, if you check out the study finder in terms of health sciences, which I did for you, and here you see the screenshot, the very first natural breakdown will be by subject. And then you see 60-degree programs for health science, and 5 and 55 in terms of bachelor and master. And in case you are not right now ready to start first semester with German, you could start, for example, with English only, and then maybe, I'm sure, in today's sessions as well, it will be mentioned that having some German skills would be helpful. So it's also possible to filter for English-only programs in case you want. There are program features, for example, about work experience, then university types, about finances, additional requirements in terms of your English, IELTS, TOEFL, or other scores. You can already filter for programs that are accepting your relevant score. What else? If you don't know how it feels studying health sciences in Germany, and frequently this question is also, can I become a doctor after graduating from one of the fields? You don't become a doctor, but you can have a subject webinar, a subject page where you have an overview of rankings, tuition fees, and application admission requirements that are usually applicable to programs offered in health sciences. And then you have a kind of overview, what are potential job opportunities for you, what are expectations from programs, usually, for example, what is a GPA, etc., etc. So this is broader overview if you roughly meet the requirements for programs. We always encourage you to search programs according to the university, to the study program profile, and not be guided only by fees, rankings, and city names, because all programs are different, interesting, and it should be a kind of mutual match of your expectations, also program expectations in terms of your knowledge, and then because you will be doing it for a while, and it should be also interesting and beneficial for both sides. Very briefly about the university landscape in Germany. We also have an article about that in case you want to know more details. There are different types of universities, but what I want to mention right now is that usually universities or technical universities are more research theory oriented, and the programs that they are offered are more research and theory oriented, while universities of applied science usually have more application practice oriented programs offered. A few webinars ago, we had a question about PhDs. Now, lots of universities of applied science do have a right to offer PhD programs and also award this PhD degree. One more addition would be, or advice would be, to search programs by subject and of course apply different filters. For example, the natural breakdown will be bachelor master, rather than searching for a program by program name, because you could hardly guess the program name. Today as well, you will see there are different namings, and if you are searching right now for health science, and you are missing all these great programs that will be presented. So it's always advisable that you search by a subject, and then adjust and sort even programs. You can actually have a new feature. You can sort programs according to application deadline, locations, and other things. So this will also help you. All right. First, we start with the ones who want to apply for bachelor's degree, and we have 𝘱𝘢𝘪𝘥 University of Applied Sciences, Professor Dr. Franziska Satzinga, who will be talking about bachelor's in science in global health. I will then stop my screen share, give this virtual mic to her, and I move in behind the scenes to share some links with you.
Thank you very much, Nino. Can you confirm that you can see the slides? Great. Okay, thank you. Good afternoon to most of you. I'm going to be presenting this afternoon on a Bachelor of Science degree in Global Health at 𝘱𝘢𝘪 University, alongside Katharina Akavi, who's also joining us. We'll be kind of switching back and forth. Katharina is a student assistant and a current student in this program. So we're just going to try to, in the next few minutes, give you an overview very briefly of the university, but then more specifically the program, what you can expect to learn, what kinds of topics you can expect to cover within the program, and also where you might be headed afterwards or what kinds of career prospects there might be. Katharina will also talk to you about the support services that are available. So we have a number of services specifically targeting international students, to make sure that you feel supported and can make the most of your stay in 𝘱𝘢𝘪. And at the end, we'll briefly cover logistical things like cost and tuition.
Okay, thank you. I will begin with where exactly 𝘱𝘱𝘪 is located. So as you can see on the map here, 𝘱𝘱𝘪 is very central in Germany. It is very close to Frankfurt and has an excellent rail and road connection. So it is a great starting point to explore the rest of Germany and to get to know all other cities, and also is a good point to explore more of Europe, since it is very central. But today we will focus more on the campus where it is located, our university, so the university has a very modern facility which brings together all different faculties in one place, and we have a very beautiful together for all different activities, as the library and the cafeteria, just as well as all other places where you can study and get together.
So this is an overview of, just so you have an idea of what to expect in 𝘱𝘱𝘪. 𝘱𝘱𝘪 isn't a particularly large city, but the campus itself has a lot of international students. So this number is increasing fairly quickly and drastically. Overall on the campus, about 1 in 5 students comes from outside of Germany. And specifically in our global health program, that number is almost double. So 1 in 2 or 3 students within the global health program typically comes from outside of Germany, which is a very enriching environment to learn and to teach in, and really helps the success of the program, because people are coming with very different experiences and perspectives and so on. So the study program covers a number of topics. Particularly, we start out with really trying to understand patterns of health and illness in populations across the world. So we're not a medically focused program looking on the individual level, but we're really looking at a population level most of the time and trying to understand what factors contribute to different health outcomes, for instance, in different parts of the world and in different populations within those world locations. What are the factors contributing to them? And then also, what role do things like politics, health systems, neoliberal globalization, et cetera, how do these kinds of broader factors play into health outcomes at the end of the day? So what are those connections or pathways between kind of out here, macro level processes that are happening, conditions in which we live, and how do they influence health at the end of the day? And once we have a stronger understanding of those factors and those causes, we can start to think about how and where we might want to intervene or what we can do to try to address those issues at a population level, particularly. So the skills that you would acquire or you do acquire within this program are first and foremost academic work. So really learning how to read and write like a bachelor's student. So certainly all of you can read and write already, but you learn the skills of what does it look like to write at a bachelor level, right? So we have a module on academic skills that starts very early that tries to get everybody kind of on the same playing field when people are coming from very different school systems from across the world. We also teach research methods. So again, this is kind of, it builds from earlier semesters where we have a broad introduction to different kinds of research methods. And then as you progress through the semesters, you can focus in on the type of research methods that are more suitable or interesting for you as you wish. And because of the way our classes are structured, there's a very good mix of learning how to work independently, but also work in teams. So we typically have fairly small classroom sizes, at most 40 people in a room, but usually it's half that, if even. You have a lot of connection with your teachers, your professors, but also with your other fellow students. And so you'll do some group work, some collaborative work, but also be expected to do learning and work on your own. And lastly, we try to kind of equip you with skills to be able to communicate what you're learning to those that are actually in a position to make decisions. These are kind of the nuts and bolts that you'll also find on our website if you choose to look further into our study program there. So the degree you're awarded at the end of your studies is a Bachelor of Science in Global Health, and it spans 7 semesters. So if you follow the regular course of study as it's structured to be, you'll be with us for 3.5 years. The admission requirements are that you need a university entrance qualification and you need proof of B2 level English proficiency. Some of you will have that as an actual certificate that you have B2 or higher in English. Others of you will come from educational systems where English was the primary or one of the primary languages of instruction as well. And evidence of that is also sufficient as proof that you meet the B2 English requirements. The program is taught entirely in English, so everything. There's nothing in German. We do, however, really recommend, and Nino mentioned this at the start, for you to work towards having at least a very basic level of German proficiency, simply because it will help you tremendously to be able to function and live in Fulda. So Fulda is not a huge 4 million people international city where you can call any doctor and speak in English or get an apartment speaking only in English. So it's very helpful if you can have some exposure to German prior to coming, but it's not a requirement. So if this is their first consideration of Germany, please do come. You can work on your language acquisition in Fulda. We also offer courses in German, and being here will help you acquire that fairly quickly. Just 2 last things on this slide. The study program necessarily involves a 12-week or 3-month internship in an international organization or abroad. And this happens in your very last semester. And we have a support person within the department who will help you to find and organize your internship in another country often, or somewhere in Germany that's working in an NGO or something that's working internationally. And the last bit of information is that we're starting this program again in summer semester 2025. So the first week of April 2025, the next cohort will start in the program.
Right. So for the application process, if you want to sign up for Global Health in Fulda, you can either sign up with a German university entrance qualification right on our internal platform called Horstel. The application's already started, so you can already sign up until the 31st of March next year. Or if you do have an international education certificate, you can get that evaluated and verified at the external association called UniAssist. There, a fee of 75 euros will come up, and with that you can then apply on our platform. Here the application date also already started, so up until the 31st of March next year you can apply for that course.
Just one note on that, please keep in mind that it takes a while to process your applications. So if you leave it till the very end of March, the likelihood that you could start a week later in Fulda is fairly slim, particularly also considering visa requirements and so on to come. Very briefly, what can you expect to do with a degree in global health? It's really anything you want to do with it. We've listed here a few possibilities of organizations or agencies that you might already be familiar with: the World Health Organization, the World Bank, 𝘗𝘢𝘪𝘥𝘷𝘦𝘳𝘴𝘪𝘈 is a German institution. These are some of the places our students end up, or maybe after another interim step, end up working for some of these agencies and organizations that have an international or global orientation and have at least some component of their work being health related. So it can be anything at this scale and or at a much smaller, more hands-on scale in a non-governmental organization or something similar. In the fourth semester, students that have completed their secondary education within Germany are required to do a semester abroad. We have a number of partnerships with universities in various parts of the world, but you're also open to choose any university that you like. And this is an opportunity to kind of immerse yourself in a different location, perhaps follow up on a certain thematic area that interests you, and take courses at another university. For those of you that are international, which I assume is most of the people listening today, this is optional. So you're absolutely encouraged and supported if you'd like to do a semester abroad in your fourth semester, but it's not a requirement if you've come from a different country into Germany already to study in Fulda. The internship that I mentioned a few slides ago in the seventh semester is mandatory for everybody. And so this is an opportunity to apply your skills and oftentimes to make connections that serve you really well then when you go into the professional world following your degree program. Then you've already had some experience and met some people that are working on global health issues all over the world and or in Germany.
So for our degree program, we offer a lot of different networking events to get together within the students of global health, where you get to meet all different students from higher semesters who might have already done their internship. As you can see on the slide here, we had an event on that, and really get to know everyone and network, exchange information, and connect with people, as well as mentoring, where we really support each other throughout the course with various questions and situations through the modules or the internship or the semester abroad. So this is really a network where we all support each other. But except from that, we also have different support systems at the university. One of them is called In Time. that is from students for students. So that is specifically also aiming for international students who might struggle with some content during the semester. If it's just a module or anything else, you can sign up here for different tutorials or monitoring throughout your courses. And for connecting with each other, we also have a program called Rocket Together, also aimed for international students to really have a support network, find friends, and get together for social activities and different workshops. There are a lot of different events throughout the year that you can get together with. Then there's also the buddy program, which is also aiming for international students, where you can be paired with an experienced buddy, ideally other German student, so you can really get to know the German culture a little bit more and be included in all the activities, where you really have your buddy to be friends with and go out and just have a little bit of a support system. And what is also offered at the beginning of each semester, even before the normal orientation week, is the international orientation week, where all the international students of each semester get together and have get to know each other before the semester begins. And if you feel like you want to prepare a little bit more before the degree program starts, there is a pre-study that the university offers where you can improve your German skills and really get to know the living and studying in Germany and already connect with other people who are also beginning the course, just as well as the pre-college, which is a little bit deeper, where you can also get internship at different German companies and improve your language skills, even though for that you would have to already have a language of B2 to apply for that program and take part of it. But these are the options you can have before studying your course and prepare for studying in Germany, Fulda. And lastly, we have the draft of monthly expenses, so you can have an overview what it would cost to live in Fulda. So the probably most important and biggest part is the rent, which is roughly around 350 euros here in Fulda. Can be less, but of course can also be more. But usually it should be around the 350 mark. And the good thing about the university is that you do not have to pay tuition. The only thing that comes up is each semester roughly 300 euros, which already includes all student services for the university. And the Deutschland ticket, so the train connection system where you can move around Germany for free. So that's already included in your semester contribution. And all the other culture and leisure expenses you would take throughout the month, which will end up at roughly 860 euros a month and 300 per semester, so each half year. Thank you very much. These are our contact details. As you can see from Professor Satzinger, who is the head of the study program and was just presenting, and 𝘱𝘢𝘕, who is not with us today, but who is also the advisor of the prospective students. So if you are interested in studying in Fulda, these would be the main contact persons.
Then I jump in this. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much for the presentation details. And I would like to mention to attendees that there was a question about UniAssist. So UniAssist article is about already in chat. And there are questions about scholarships. I saw, so articles about scholarships are also in chat. However, I want to mention that for bachelors, there are usually limited scholarships available. However, they are not non-existent. All right. Okay. And yeah, contacts for Instagram and Facebook are also there. You could maybe also get to know the program from social media as well. All right, thank you once again. And now we have our second guest from University of Göttingen, Dr. Christina Wutz, who will be talking about cardiovascular science program, Masters of Science. And we saw a really short also prompt of presentation. I think you will also like the program, and I believe you already know some of the details of that, but let's listen to Dr. Wutz. The mic is yours.
So then thank you, Nino, and also a warm welcome from my side. I'm happy to present you some insights of our program, Master's Program Cardiovascular Science in Göttingen, which also has more or less the little sentence, study the heart in the heart of Germany. So why did we choose this? It's quite easy because, yeah, as we already heard from Professor Stetzinger from Fulda, Germany is quite in the middle of Europe, and Göttingen itself is quite in the middle of Germany, and so the literally center of Germany is quite close to Göttingen. So that's why we choose this little topic. And Göttingen itself is also located in the south of the federal state of Lower Saxony. It's the sixth biggest city in Lower Saxony, and the university itself, or the university city itself, had around 120,000 inhabitants, and around about 20% of that are students. And when you arrive in Göttingen at the main station, then you will find the sentence Göttingen, die Stadt, die Wissenschaft, which means something like Göttingen, the city that built up knowledge. The University of Göttingen itself is quite old in Germany, founded in the 18th century, and now has around 13 faculties: natural sciences, humanities, social sciences, and also medicine. And with around 28,000 students, 17% of them international, which study in 212 degree programs. Göttingen, within the last 100 years, brought around 45 Nobel laureates, which gave Göttingen also the name of the Göttingen Nobel Miracle. And it's today still of the best universities in Germany and among the top 200 in the world. The so-called Göttingen campus has around about 10 members, so the university itself, the University Medical Center, the German Primate Center, and also several Max Planck institutions, and 14 associated members like Sartorius, VW, the German Aeronautics Center, and others. The research focus at the University Medical Center is there are 3 research foci at the UMG, which are neurosciences, oncology, and cardiovascular sciences. Cardiovascular sciences shows several research consortia like the so-called SFB, and Göttingen itself is also a member of the German Center for Heart and for Heart Diseases. We have the so-called Heart Center in Göttingen, and a research training group focused on heart and brain diseases. And on the basis of all that, we have our master's program, Cardiovascular Science, which is in this form like that, unique in Germany. So maybe some facts about our program. So it's a full-time 2-year 4-semester program with 120 credits. It's taught entirely in English, so there's, as for the program in Fulda, completely everything in English and no German. But of course, yeah, it's quite good to know at least a bit of German, just to, yeah, you can live a bit easier in a little city like Göttingen. It's a complete scientific and research-based program, which means that there is no patient contact at all, and you can't get a doctor in the end. So the program itself starts every winter semester, normally within the first week of October. And the application term will start quite soon on the 1st of December until the end of April for all applicants, so for German applicants as well as for the internationals. We teach our students in small cohorts with maximum 25 students, and within our program, around 70 to 80% are international students from all over the world. We also have no tuition fees, but as for the program in Fulda, you also have to pay round about €400 per semester, so-called semester fee, which also includes in Göttingen public transport and the so-called Deutschlandticket. There are three really big and important elements in our study program. So of course, the first are the lectures. So there are several theoretical modules that are built up mainly on lectures. We also have within these theoretical modules some kind of seminars. You can attend talks. There are some practical parts. And of course, you also have the possibility to choose some elective courses and elective modules. But the most important point in our program are the so-called lab rotations. So these lab rotations within the 4 semester, you will have 3 lab rotations. Each of them is 7 to 8 weeks. You can work within these lab rotations in a research project, and also maybe you will get the possibility to work on your own small projects. And within your lab rotations, you will have a one-to-one supervision by someone who's responsible for you and for the project you are working on. The structure of the program is, as for typical for master's program, quite structured, which means that within the first semester, you will start with a theoretical module called 101, Cardiovascular Basics, which give you some insights in cardiovascular anatomy, physiology, embryology, and all that stuff that is needed to know about the heart. This is followed by your first lab rotation, and you can choose the topic and the lab within Göttingen completely by your own, and you're completely free to choose the topic and whatever you are interested in. This is followed by the second theoretical module, which is now more located or more looking into detail on the cell basic structure, like cell biology, some biophysics and biochemistry, and also some signal transduction. You start your second semester with your second lab rotation, and after that, it gets a bit more clinical with molecular aspects on cardiovascular diseases in adults and children. You will get some insights in cardiovascular imaging and also in cardiovascular surgery, for example. And in the third semester, you start with your third lab rotation and some theoretical module about cardiovascular research on academia and industry. So this should give you some insights in what can be done to transform everything that is done in academia to industry, and how is research done in industry and things like that. The fourth semester is completely for the time for your master thesis. The topic should be cardiovascular, but you can choose a lab inside or outside from Göttingen, and you are also free to choose a lab somewhere international. So we can give advices for labs maybe within the States or wherever you are interested to go. In addition, between the second and the fourth semester, you can get some credits in modules called Modern Topics in Cardiovascular Research, where you can attend talks to cardiovascular topics and everything that may be surrounded. And you are free to choose some elective modules completely on your own choice out of the whole catalog of the university. So the application process, as I already mentioned, will start quite soon on the 1st of December. So how is it done? Normally, the first step is that you register online normally directly via our own homepage. You can also go via the German university site, or just easily Google CVS and Göttingen, and you will find us. As I already mentioned, deadline will end on the end of April next year. And the second step also, this should also be done between the 1st of December and end of April. You have to upload the required documents. This should be translated in German or in English. You will need your signed application form, which will be provided during the registration process. We need a transcript of records, which normally it should show minimum of 150 ECTS. If you already have finished your study program or your bachelor's, then you will need your final degree certificate and also an English certificate showing minimum of B2 knowledge, which should not be older than 2 years. An actual CV and a short letter of motivation of maximum 1,000 words. And of course, your final degree and also an English certificate, they can be submitted after the 3rd of April. The third step is the short entry tests. This is an electronic test which can be done online from all over the world. We will open it up within the 1st and 2nd week of May, and it contains around about 70 questions in 45 minutes. It can only be started once, and the topics are more or less basics in natural sciences, maths, lab work, and things like that. So we just want to see your basic knowledge that you maybe gained within your bachelor's. The final step, step 4, is the interview with the admission panel. So this interview will normally take place between May and June. And we will invite the best 10% out of the bachelor grades and the test. It's a 20-minute interview with 2 professors of the program and the coordination office, and we are mainly interested in your former studies. So what have you done in your bachelor's? Have you done in your bachelor thesis, and what is your motivation to apply for our program? So, and everything you need to know and everything I was now talking about, you can find in our FAQ section on our website. So what are the job perspectives? As a master's program and a Master of Science, we normally qualify our students for the next step, going for PhD in academia or in industry. But with this master's, you are also able and free to work, for example, in a research and in scientific labs, also in academia and industry. And you are also able to work, for example, in clinical trials. You might now maybe ask yourself, so is this the right program for me? So then let me answer, I'm quite sure it is not. If you have a bachelor in midwifery, nursing, or physiotherapy, or anything that is not related to natural and life sciences. If you are an MD with the dream to become a cardiologist, as I already mentioned, it won't help you fulfill your dream because you are not more allowed to work on patients that you are as an MD. If you have absolutely no interest in lab work, then it's definitely not the right program for you. And if your English is not sufficient. But I'm quite sure it is. If you have completed a bachelor's in natural life or health sciences with 180 credits and a minimum of 6 semesters, or something that is comparable to that. If you are interested to study in Germany in a really international environment, if you are interested in scientific lab work and in scientific and medical issues, and if you have sufficient knowledge in English. So, and if that's the case, then we are looking forward to your application, and I'm happy to take questions now or via email.
Thank you very much, Dr. Witz, for the information, all the details. Dear attendees, the contact data is in chat, and of course the program page as well. Just as a reminder, the application deadlines are there as well, because it's different. In Fulda it was by UniAssist usually for internationals, and here it's more direct application at the university. All right, now I will share my screen and invite Clara Bürger to talk about Master in e-Health and Communication from University Jena. And the map and some program Snapchat is on the screen, but Clara will have more details.
Yes, thank you. So, my name is Clara 𝘠𝘕𝘂𝘓. I come from Jena with the Masters in eHealth and Communication, and we are a part-time and postgraduate course at the University of Jena. So I don't have that much information on our city with me because our program is online. So you don't have to travel to Jena, or you don't have to live in Jena to study in our program. We are completely online, except like a little final weekend at the end of the program to celebrate the end. But we are also making that in a hybrid version. So if you are living far away and can't travel to Jena, this is also possible. At first, I wanted to give you a quick overview on the main characteristics of our study program. As I mentioned before, we are a part-time postgraduate course, and we are completely online. We are a Master of Science program with 60 credit points. And as we are a postgraduate course, you need a first university degree with a minimum of 240 credits. So that's more than the typical bachelor degree, which has typically 180 credit points. And you also need a minimum of 1 year in work experience. If you don't have these 240 credit points, there are possibilities to study in our program, and I will talk about that later. Our program has a duration of 3 semesters, so it's a bit shorter. And our language is German and English. This is due to the fact that we are also accepting like German students and the international students. And if we don't have enough international applications and we have the requirement of the German students, we are doing the program in German, but we are planning on starting the course in English in the next summer semester. And yeah, so all our preparation is in English, but there is like the old possibility of doing it in German, because we already did 2 years of this program, and as we were not open to internationals, then it was in German. Our program costs a bit or a lot more money than the others. We have a contribution per semester of 4,300 euros. That is due to the fact that we are so-called Weiterbildungsmaster. That means that you have like already a qualification and you already have work experience and are working while you're studying. And these kind of programs have to finance themselves and are not financed by the state like other programs at universities. So this is like a really major characteristic of our program that you need to consider. Our target groups are all members of the healthcare system. So our students are doctors, they are psychologists, they are pharmacologists, they come from bioinformatics, from social work, from the field of communication science, from media like German journalism, and like the general health science. So it's a really interprofessional environment. Our lecturers come from different fields, and also our students come from really different fields. And this makes our seminars really interactive, and the focus is to integrate the different perspectives of different professions in the healthcare systems to work towards, to work together and we aim at talking about the digitalization in the healthcare system, and you need all these professions to do that. So I already talked about like some of the contents in our program. Our program combines 4 modules: eHealth literacy, eHealth media communication, eHealth applications, and eHealth management. And you also see like the 4 lecturers that are talking in these 4 modules. We also have like some extra lecturers, but these are like the leading lecturers. In the first module of eHealth literacy, this is done by Professor Hübner, who's also the lead of our study program. She talks a lot about eHealth literacy and eHealth literacy, and this means that it's about what ability different patients, different persons have in understanding their diseases and how they can navigate the healthcare system, and how we have to modify our communication in the healthcare system and have to modify eHealth applications, especially that different persons with different eHealth literacy can navigate themselves in the healthcare system. So our big focus in this module is the part of communication with patients. Then we have the module eHealth media communication, which is held by Professor Dr. Roman, and he comes from the field of communication science. And this module talks about the role of the media and journalism in our public understanding of health information. So what role does media and reporting play in our society regarding health information? How does good or bad risk and crisis reporting take place? So there's a lot of talk about how reporting was around the COVID pandemic and other similar instances, and what ethical aspects need to be considered when we are reporting on health information. In the module eHealth application, which is taught by Professor Dr. Spreckelsen, is about eHealth applications. So what are the latest trends in eHealth technology? What is happening right now? What kind of applications are available to patients? And how is data and health information processed in these applications? And which requirements do these applications have to fulfill? And in the 4th module, eHealth management by Professor Dr. Selk, this module is all about what steps are needed to implement eHealth applications in our healthcare systems. So it's the focus is the management. Professor Selk comes from the management science. So it's a lot about what do you need to consider when implementing eHealth technologies in a hospital or similar institutions. So our goal is to prepare our students systematically for the digitalization of the healthcare systems, and that our students can contribute to that important trend right now in the healthcare system. And like the subpoints of our programs are the analysis of eHealth technologies, taking into account ethical, technological, economical, and legal aspects. Also, we talk about adequate digital communication of health-related information and expertise to different target audiences. There, we also talk about the analysis of implementation conditions for eHealth application in different professional settings. And with there is also like the really big importance of the different professions that our students come from. And we want to provide knowledge of the function and necessary involvement of important professions and adequate communication with them. So how does studying with us look like? We have 3 semesters, and in the first and the second semester, we have 2 modules each. We start the first semester with the module in eHealth literacy and eHealth applications, and we start the semester always with an intense online week. So we have 5 days of content. We give organizational input, but also the first lectures. And then we have seminars over the semester. And in the second semester, it's the same structure, but with 2 different modules, eHealth media communication and eHealth management. And then in the third semester, we have the last module with the master thesis that you can write in one of the 4 modules in cooperation with the lecturers. And then we finish the whole program with the final weekend in Jena, where the master theses are presented and discussed. Our students come from a really diverse field, and I have like some examples what this can look like. So we have one student who's female, who is working as a head of corporate communications, as a marketing spokeswoman in a clinic, and comes from a background in political science. We also have students who are from the medical field, and we have had a senior physician for interdisciplinary emergency medicine, who also did a Master of Health Management before studying with us. Another example is a male student who is a medical director of an 𝘗𝘠𝘳𝘵, which is like a combined ambulatory clinic. And he was also a member of the Board of Representatives of the Association of Statutory Health Insurance Physicians here in Thüringen. So he's like really from the practical field of medicine. But we also have a student who's female and is like the deputy pharmacy manager and quality management officer in the pharmacy, and has a background in chemistry. So you see that our students come from really diverse professional fields, and the main aspect of our program is that our lecturers and our students are so diverse, and that we can combine a lot of different perspectives in our program. So now I will talk about some organizational aspects. We have, for the summer semester 2025, our application period starts at the 1st of December this year and ends at the end of January. So it's not that long, but we need a lot of time after that application to process your application so that everything can start in April with the new semester. I already talked a bit about the admission requirements. So you need a first university degree with 240 credit points. If you don't have that, you need to prove that you can provide a similar competence profile that you acquired through further training or certificates, and a letter of motivation where you describe how these further training opportunities are equal to like the 240 credit points university program. If you have any questions about that, you can always write us an email. You also need 1 year of professional experience in the healthcare field. It would be really good, or it is important that you also have contact with patients, but it's not necessary. And we also need a language certificate with English B2. And there is a few documents that you need to provide, but I didn't want to bore you with all that information, so I wanted to advise you to look at our website, where there's a detailed list of all the required documents where you can check everything. And if you have questions, we are a really small program. We are easily reachable, so you can always write us an email. And I also talked about the point of the costs. Our program costs 4,300 euros per semester. This makes 12,900 euro for the whole program. And if you are an international student and do not live in Germany, you do have to provide the whole fee in advance before you start the semester. This is a requirement of our university. So we have 6 seminars per module in 1 semester, and they take part around every 3 weeks. And there is our self-studies in preparation for the seminars, who take place via Moodle, and we meet in the seminars via Zoom. And this is how a schedule of 1 semester of the upcoming summer semester would look like. So you have the module eHealth Literacy and eHealth Application in the first semester. Every 3 weeks there is a seminar in the evening hours, so it's easily compatible with work. And between the seminars, you have a study exercise where you have to prepare for the next semester, for the next seminar. And at the end of the semester, we have the exams. Our exams are really diverse, so we have an online pitch in the eHealth literacy module. There is an essay plus multiple choice test exam in the module of eHealth applications, and in the module eHealth management, you can choose between a case study or a scientific essay. So you have some options, and there are different kinds of exams for each module, because we want to match really the different contents of the module with an exam that fits the module. I also have like one example from how Moodle would look like. So we have a really big Moodle infrastructure with a lot of information where you can find everything that you need. So we have, you can see there is like one box for each seminar, and then if you click on it, it opens up and provides you with all the materials, the preparation that you need for the seminar, and if they are the lecturers, the presentations are also provided there. And this is like a really good infrastructure, and you can always find all the required information on Moodle with us. Yeah. So this is what I have brought with me for our master's program in eHealth and Communications, and I'm looking forward to your questions afterwards. If you have any further questions, write us an email. We are easily reachable, and we will be happy to answer every question that you have, and all the information can also be found on our website.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Clara, for the presentation and a nice showcase of Moodle as well, because there were usually questions on how this e-teaching is looking. All right, then. By the way, dear attendees, I saw a question about the application documents. So since Clara already mentioned it's on the page, but I also put it in chat in case you want to have a look. Feel free to see the list. But I mean, you will anyways need to check the page, because application form, for example, is just what I wrote, but you need to see how it looks like. All right, then let's start with the questions. And thank you very much for already taking the questions in written. I see 11 answered questions and 10 are still open. The first question was for Fulda about the exams for entering. Since it's a bachelor's program, there are, not since, but usually, so in this case it was, there are no exams, but since it's a bachelor's program, you might need to do a 𝘱𝑠tudienkolleg. Professor, maybe you have experience of applicants who then were redirected to 𝘱𝑠tudienkolleg, or do you have one already at the campus?
Yeah, we have a pre-study option that Katharina talked about briefly. So if you don't have the university entrance qualification, you can come and do one of those options. We have a pre-study and a pre-college that are typically 1 year and that you can use to prepare to then enter the global health program. Please note that those are conducted in German primarily. So this is one way in which you might, over Uni Assist, get feedback that's automatic feedback saying you don't meet the German requirements, and then you think, wait a minute, global health doesn't have German requirements. That only comes up if you don't actually have the university entrance qualification. So if you're lacking that, then they would suggest you automatically do a pre-study or pre-college, and for that you do need some German. So it's a little bit confusing that way, but as long as you have a university entrance qualification, you don't need to do any pre-study or pre-college first.
Thank you. Another solution for you would be to do a 1 year of university in your home country, and then you could directly be, you could qualify for the direct application to the German study course. So there was a question for Dr. 𝘱𝘢𝘷𝘦𝘳𝘴𝘪𝘯𝘨 about the, because you mentioned the intensivity of lab works and rotations, and the question was, do you need to prove of previous experience in lab work? In case, I see already your answer, but if you could briefly follow up on that.
No, it's not necessarily needed, but of course it's helpful to get an easier start in the lab rotation. But we also offer a first week of short get to know the lab, to say so, with some basic techniques. But yeah, in the end, it's good to have it, but it's not necessarily needed.
And I think for your program, there was a question, I cannot see it any longer, but it was saying, can somebody with social science apply? Is it true that somebody with social science can apply? But you first show that you don't qualify if you don't have anything related to natural science, right?
I think the social science question was for the 𝘱𝘢𝘪 program. So for us, it's not possible.
Okay. Then maybe with you?
It kind of depends. So you can apply if you have like the communication science qualification. And the main requirement for us is that you work in the healthcare system, so that you have work experience in the healthcare system. You don't have necessarily have to have patient contact, but you have to be kind of involved in the healthcare system, work at an insurance company, work at the like a company who is around produces like e-health technologies or stuff like that. So you have to have a contact with the healthcare system. If you have a study in communication science or social science, stuff like that, you can also apply. The main part is that you have that you need to work experience in the healthcare system.
All right. To stay with you, there was the question, how do you organize communication with actual patients?
We don't have actual patients in the program. So in the 𝘱𝘢𝘪𝘥 literacy module is about communication with patients, and then we have some case studies with us, and the lecturers talk about their own experience. And sometimes we can organize that people from the patient group come to the seminars in some cases, but we don't have we don't go into the clinic and talk with patients because we are also online. We try to incorporate examples that are really close to the practice, and inviting people who have been patients. We mostly our patients come from the field of oncology, because Dr. Hübner is from the field of oncology, but we don't have actual patients in the seminar.
All right. Question for Fulda about more content related. Do you concentrate on country-specific health systems?
Right. Yeah, I think I've answered that in the chat. So I'm not sure I fully understand the question, but we can't obviously cover every single health system in the world, but we cover different types of health systems, drawing from examples across the world, right, to try to illustrate what different kinds of health systems can look like using case examples. I hope that answered that question.
I believe so. And there was about the prospect of further employment to start working at the Ministry of Health. Would that be something realistic?
Yeah, I mean, I also try to delicately answer this question. We can't guarantee you a job in any particular thing afterwards. If that's your interest, then that's something that can guide your decision making throughout the program. So it can guide a little bit what kinds of elective modules you take, what kinds of term papers you choose to write, which professors you choose to maybe write your bachelor thesis with, or under whose supervision. What kinds of extracurricular, basically, or maybe other kinds of opportunities you seek out, and importantly, where you do your internship. So if you know coming into the program that this is your interest or your goal, you can do everything you can to work towards that. That's about all we can do, is to try to prepare you as best as possible. So the program is not geared specifically to train people to work in a Ministry of Health, but it's also not something that we would exclude in the range of possibilities. The places where students or graduates of the program go and will presumably continue to go is extremely broad. and very much guided by each individual person's interests and strengths and so on.
Thank you so much. Then let's combine two questions for Göttingen. Dr. Wurtz, you already answered those about the conditional admission with English language certificate to be submitted later. Could you please also voice that?
Yeah, it is possible to get admission, and the other way around, it's possible to hand in the English certificate and the final certificate or the bachelor's certificate at latest 13th September. And it is possible to get admission without these documents, conditional admission.
And it's also possible to continue with PhD. Would it be at the same university?
Yes. We also
Okay.
have a PhD program related to that topic.
Thank you so much. There is a bit longer question for Clara. I don't have English certificate, only German B2 for the Master eHealth. I'm doctor in Berlin working at hospital. There are possibilities to finances, I guess. Is it possible to graduate as PhD? I'm thinking during the master to apply my medicine knowledge and some investigation projects in a digital form, developing apps. Is it also part of the master to develop new digital technologies?
Okay.
I hope you can see the question because it's longer one.
I see. I put up the question, so try to get through it. With the language certificate, I'm not sure right now how it would apply if you apply for the German kind of study program. Then I think you don't need the English certificate. But if we start the English program, you need the English certificate. There are a few possibilities how to get that, and I don't think that we have the hardest requirements on that. It needs to be like a Cambridge test or stuff like that. So if you are unsure about that, please contact us via email, and we can talk about it individually, because I'm not confident enough to give you like a clear answer on that question right now, with not knowing the requirements of your situation. We can't give you we have the experience that a lot of that a lot of students are supported by their employer financially, but the students have to organize that by themselves. We have a lot of good examples with other students who were financed by their employer, but you need to talk about your employer yourself. You can get Bildungsurlaub in Deutschland if you do our master program. The master does qualify you to do a PhD afterwards. You can do that at the medical faculty in Jena, but not that easily with our team. But if you are interested in that in the follow-up, we are happy to support you and help you with our network. And it is not a direct part of our master to develop new digital technologies in the modules, but you can do that with your master thesis. So I think I answered all the parts. If you have further questions, please write us an email, and we are happy to get into further contact.
Thank you. Dr. Wood, there was a question about GPA. I think it was for you, and I wrote 2.5 German system. Please correct if it's that. Okay.
That's correct.
All right. Thank you. Then I see a few questions which are more general, and I would like to take them. First is from Daniel. Is VPD result mandatory to attend for international students? Dear Daniel, UniAssist application is for the bachelor's program offered from Fulda, but they use only UniAssist, not VPD, so you don't need that. Question for Jena, how many students are usually there during the seminar?
So program consists around 15 students, so we're a really small group. We also need like that's a minimum of participants, but we don't go further than around. In our experience, we don't have more students than 20 students. So we are a small group, and all the seminars are always held with the same people. And then we work in small subgroups to prepare for the seminars.
Thank you. May Studienkolleg be necessary for this master's program? So master's programs do not need Studienkolleg. You need Studienkolleg only for bachelor in case you don't have entrance qualification for German university. But for masters, already it was mentioned for Göttingen and Jena what kind of requirements they have. Usually it's GPA really important, and of course additional documents that programs have. The question is how much is the application fee? So again, I will take this one for Fulda for bachelor's program. There is kind of the program does not set an application fee because they are cooperating with UniAssist. This is UniAssist that charges you money, and it's 75 euros for the first application or 30 euros for the every other application in the same semester, because with UniAssist you can apply to multiple programs if those programs are also cooperating with UniAssist. And in this case, it's 75, and then every additional application the same semester would cost 30 euros. For the other two programs, I believe there are no application costs. No. All right. The requirements for English competency certificate is usually required. If I correctly recall, for the bachelor's program, if your previous studies was fully in English, you do accept, right? This is a proof. Yeah, but also the course links are in the chat, and all of them also have a special table where it's listed what the grade of IELTS, TOEFL is required, or Cambridge, or any other certificate, and feel free to check that out. Yeah, there is one more visa-related questions for the Jena University. Since it's online, students don't apply for visa, right?
No, you don't have to apply for visa because we are fully online and you can stay in your home country the whole time, study with us.
And I believe for this last weekend or so, you could come with tourist visa, and yeah. All right. Thank you so much.